get out of town. There's too many street lights, like, how am I supposed to see at night? One of the reasons why, and I need a reason to be alive. What does it feel like? Real life, I'm too cool. Zoom, zoom, no good news on the tube. It's all blue, I fall through. Catch me on the moon like Aldrin, I'm Buzz Dude. I found my faith, dropped out like Mace. Yeah, drown in my wave. SoundCloud to the stage.
Never know when a segment may come. Hypocrisy of bailouts. Let's do it.
As you know, our country continues to emerge from the recent pandemic, and then, of course, plunge back into it, and then re-emerge, and then it's emotionally alive. During this time, we learned it was the essential workers who kept us afloat.
Wall Street didn't build this country. The middle class built the country.
And the people who built this country from the ground up, the workers.
I love our blue-collar workers.
I consider myself in a certain way to be a blue-collar worker.
Taxi cab drivers and cops
I identify
and
as
firefighters and waiters and waitresses and the men and women with calluses on their hands. Working man with calluses on his hands. With men and women with
feel really good on my wiener.
Men and women with calluses on their hands. Calluses on your hands.
His hands are thick
Yo,
with
what up,
calluses. It's the official truck of
You ever gotten a hand job from a man with
grease?
strong calluses on his hands? There's really nothing like it. Not a good question to answer then.
Yes, by all means, praise the worker, but for God's sakes, will no one give them hand lotion? The mitts are like sandpaper. Give them some lotion.
That's so weird, bro.
We love and respect the hard-working people of this country, although I'm pretty sure they don't always feel the love.
First of all, my age, I'm gonna, I need health care for a surgery if it comes up.
I need assistance to pay my rent.
After 25 and a half years, I make $8.99 an hour.
The student loans will probably delay me ever buying a house with my fiance.
I dropped out of college. I had to. I couldn't afford it. My mother couldn't afford it.
I don't get paid maternity leave.
I work 7 days a week.
Now I can't afford to retire because of health care.
I need child care like I need my next breath.
I have 2 degrees. I have student loans and bachelor's degrees and 14 years experience. I should not have to come ask for food.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck. If I live in a country that says it's #1, why do I feel like, I'm at the bottom of the barrel?
See, it turns out that hardworking Americans aren't doing that great. Anybody know what might help them?
Single-payer health care, government-paid child care,
Free college, government healthy food, early education, child education, universal child care, guaranteed job for everyone.
God bless the Republicans for bringing the good ideas to the table.
Adequate family and medical leave.
Oh wait, they're
paid
against
vacations
all
and
those
retirement
things.
security.
Right, okay.
You guys are dead on. Man, that is totally unexpected. But you all are dead on right. That is exactly what we need to do in this country. But I sensed a tone in your voice.
God, I love Jon
Why
Stewart.
aren't we doing those things?
If that's not socialism,
My
I'm
favorite
not sure
lib.
what is.
every socialist wish list item.
Socialist and globalist wish list. Socialist fantasy. Paradise for all.
Right. So there it is.
Oh no.
We cannot give our hard-working, leather-behanded heroes their basic needs because that's socialism.
I was waiting for it. Where's the layup? Okay. That's good.
And thus, the problem with the economy. Now, if you've ever listened to AM radio in your uncle's van, you know socialism not good.
The moment America becomes a socialist country is the moment that America ceases to be America.
The United Socialist States of America.
Job-killing, soul-crushing socialist agenda.
I mean,
USSA.
hello, Venezuela.
They want to take your pickup truck.
They want your money, and if you won't give it to them, they'll take it.
They want to rebuild your home.
It's the mental flips you have to do for this to make sense. They're so funny to me because it's like as if like they sort of picture of Elizabeth Warren. Like as much as I don't like Elizabeth Warren, it's not like my tax dollars. Like she just gets to pocket them, like But know who does? My health insurance company and the people who provide water that I need to live. Like that does go right into their pocket. Like that is a way to just purely profit off people's basic needs. Whereas politicians, love them or hate them, and I mostly hate them, and they do a bunch of other dirty shit, but like the idea is that they're advocating for higher taxes to redistribute that wealth to the people who need it, not pocket it for themselves. Like they're not skimming off the top. It doesn't work like that. It never, again, there's plenty of other ways that politicians get dirty money off of their position, but like purely through, not quite as purely as like, oh, all of the tax money just came in a big bag with a $sign on it, and now I'm just gonna take that and go buy a house. It's more like they advocate for policy on behalf of corporations who get to pocket that tax money and get subsidies and get kickbacks, and then they fund the campaigns, which goes into the pockets of politicians. So yeah, a roundabout, but that's when you're doing it the wrong way. Like when you allow corporate power to control all of government. It's not the direct. I don't even know why I'm explaining this. Anybody with half a brain knows this, but
socialism destroys. Socialism kills.
People really die.
It's despair, destruction. It's starvation, poverty, squalor, chaos, death.
They want to take away your hamburgers.
socialism is when no hamburgers.
Death! Despair!
Free college. Known socialist icon,
they're being
the
so
hamburger.
descriptive, but I just wish I had some kind of visual metaphor for what they mean. Takes a brave and adept hunter to bring down a giant stationary placard.
With a 50 caliber rifle.
So we know that socialism is evil, but if you would indulge me for just a moment, why is it evil again?
Is socialism a fair system?
Oh, not at all. Because what does socialism do? It allows the government to choose winners and losers. And that is one of the things that we as conservatives fight against. We want a level playing field.
First of all, your blazer has magnificent buttons.
He's back.
I'm quite superficial, I hope you know.
He's back.
So socialism is bad because it's the government picking the winners and losers. And there's nothing worse than that. Not spiders with wings, not grandma titty punching. There's nothing worse. Basically saying if you're a loser, it's your fault. And government stepping in is socialism. Get your shit together and keep Uncle Sam's sweet teats out of your dirty fucking loser mouth. Uncle Sam wants you to leave these bad boys alone. There's only one problem with this.
Only one?
And that is government picks winners and losers all the time.
The White House gives an early Christmas present to Detroit's automakers, a $17 billion loan.
The airline industry has gotten a $50 billion lifeline.
$23 million incentive package for Amazon.
JP Morgan Chase got $25 billion. Chrysler got some $7 billion.
$700 billion of your taxpayer money to Wall Street big banks.
The tuna company, StarKist Plus, gets a $62 million tax credit.
Wisconsin that dude looks like a Snapchat filter,
gets a
bro.
$62 million tax credit.
Wisconsin is giving Foxconn $3
No, that's close.
billion.
It's a $62 million tax.
Here we go. Oh boy. Oh, here we go.
Tax credit.
Oh, damn, that's
company. StarKist Plus.
pretty fucking close, dude.
It's a
Pretty
$62
close.
million
All right,
tax
segment
credit.
over.
Wisconsin is giving Foxconn $3 billion.
The state offered more than $845 million for Apple to build right where I'm standing right now.
I thought we got that clip. I thought the Apple clip got cut. I don't. That's the last one was very fair.
Business daddy. Gotta watch out for the business daddy. Oh no. It's all right, John. You're not dangerous enough. They don't care. You're fine.
I'll see myself out.
Maybe with Secretary Yellen, huh?
I think the 2008 crisis is a great example. You know, instead of a big fire hose of money being turned on those mortgages that went underwater and brought them back to sea level, they chose to pour money into those bundles, and a lot of people lost their houses.
People had every reason to feel unhappy about what happened. The purpose of intervening so that
forward
big
party in the
financial
house.
institutions and markets.
This is a broad spectrum podcast. We represent all angles and dimensions, even the ones not within this physical plane of the political spectrum. That's what the forward party is. It's the Z-axis of the political spectrum. There's usually just an X and Y, but Andrew Yang came along and innovated a third axis. Amazing stuff.
Didn't completely fail was to avoid a drying up of credit in the economy. If those financial institutions had been allowed to fail, the toll on ordinary families would have been not only bad, which it was, but unspeakably horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
We would have been looking at something like the Great Depression.
I think for people, they would view it as, well, if I'm going to lose my house, that's a crisis, you know, and I don't have a backstop.
That's an important reason why when the pandemic struck, President Biden and his
I'm a member of the
administration
Liquidate the Fuckers
has been
party.
focused on using
party.
fiscal policy, not the Fed,
Mhm.
to get help to all those who really need it.
But corporate America gets all the benefits of American stability and fiscal policy, but bears none of the responsibility. I'll give you an example. Walmart, they make billions in profits.
He might come on, dude. He's a big podcast guy. You got to reach out to him for me, all right? As a representative of the forward party, I'm gonna put that on you. I'd love to have a conversation with Yang. A lean forward party. I like the reclining L. I just did the rest of the stream like this. With the guest host will say nothing. Bro, that Mauer clip is like honestly embarrassing. He didn't say a goddamn thing that whole time. Oh man. I'm gonna make that fucker. I'm gonna make him take stands on something. I'm gonna ask him very specific policy questions. And he has to give me like a yes or no. Like, are you on board with this policy, X policy? You know, whatever.
Their workers are one of the largest corporate users of social service programs. Why don't Walmart workers share in the profits of Walmart?
You know, in the capitalist system, companies have a right to distribute profits to their shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
They're not forced to. There's nothing in the law that forces
But aren't we
them
subsidizing?
to share their...
This is the insidious part, I think, of when we talk about that we have a free market
Damn,
system.
dude.
Because what it makes it seem like
This is based.
is that the natural order of things
Now this is epic.
is that Walmart makes billions in profits and can distribute it to its shareholders, and that's just how it goes. But we know that we, the taxpayers, are subsidizing their workforce.
She's a goon.
With food stamps. They're getting
Total
the benefit of our tax dollars. So it's not.
She saw the Pillsbury Doughboy and was like, this is the peak of humanity. I must become Doughboy.
Free market.
The government, in many cases, should be running programs. It's not necessarily the case that Walmart...
She got the dough, and she looks like the boy. She did it, man. She's living the dream. Oh, God.
Walmart should do that directly.
What is wrong with this
You don't
country?
feel they are
man?
responsible because they benefit from...
That's... I'm sorry, that's so much funnier to me than it should be. But
Joe Biden, wake up.
She's the Doughboy.
Fiscal policy. They benefit from the American...
They do benefit from fiscal policy, but I think an important way of making them pay is by taxing them and making sure that their profits provide the resources to provide that infrastructure.
You would rather...
I somewhat agree with what she just said there. However, I don't think she really addressed his question or took it as far as she would need to address his question, where it's like, if these companies are going to rely on taxpayer bailouts to survive and tax cuts and subsidies to make their profits, then they should be paying into that pot more than the average person.
They still make their billions in profit, but as long as they pay us taxes so that we have enough to give their workers food stamps, that's okay.
Oh my
We
God,
also
dude.
need to invest in their workers so that they can have jobs that will produce better pay, that they'll have the skills to be able
But then
to
who will be the Walmart workers then?
But it feels like the system doesn't have accountability for those at the corporate level. How do we build that into the system?
I mean, I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, and we are very focused on trying to make sure that companies...
If working 5 days a week at Walmart or Amazon or whatever gave me enough money to feel comfortable to buy a house, a reasonable small to mid-level house, and raise a family and not have to worry about healthcare, I'd go fucking work at Walmart. I have no career ambition. I'm a fucking dumb artist. Like I don't, my ambitions are all creative, abstract ones that I'll probably never achieve, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. But if I could just go, like, if to survive, I had to, you know, spend some time working at a dumb Walmart, but I knew it was like, you know, paying for my bills and I could live a nice, comfy life. I can go on vacation. If I have a kid, I can spend time with them when they're first born and I'll still be paid. Like, these are things that's how you encourage people to do those low-level jobs. Like, her answer of like, oh, we need to educate them. It's like, all right, so now we have a whole country full of like computer programmers. Great. Who's going to work at Walmart now? Like, it's not just the answer. It's not just the answer of making people have more valuable skills. It's about valuing the lowest level of skills and having a baseline for American citizens, saying you're an American citizen, you have a baseline level of quality of life. It's really that simple. And the way you do that is with policy. It's the same way. For a while, the baseline was you were born, then at age 6, you had to start getting a job where you worked for biscuits a day. Jon Stewart is being a fucking woke king and annihilating Janet Yellen. I mean, he's asking the exact... This is what kills me. And this is honestly why I do this show, is like so much of this political content I consume, I don't see people asking the questions I would want to ask. So I figure I'm just going to do this myself. Even though I got no eyes and stuff, I'm going to at least put myself out there and react to these kind of things and say what I want to say. But in this instance, John is asking the exact fucking questions I would want to ask about, like, you know, why is it that, you know, these big companies get to treat workers like shit, but then when things go, legs up for them, they can rely on taxpayer subsidies to get back on their feet. And then she kind of explained, well, if these minimum wage should be negotiable based on age, because most minimum wage jobs are not being worked by students. They are adults with families. Students shouldn't have to work, man. I don't think you should not have to work at least full time. I'm like, part-time jobs, it's good experience to get out there and like see what it's like. I get that, but the fact that we have people of like high school age having to work like full-time jobs plus go to school, it's just like they shouldn't have to do that, man. Well, it's already happening. They're renegotiating child labor. They just like moved the age down to like, what was it? I saw something on Twitter about them encouraging 14-year-olds to work now and shit. It's like because there's a worker shortage. 13, I don't know. It's if industry, this is the simplest way I can put it. If industry was left to its own devices, we would have like 4-year-olds in coal mines. That's just the reality. The only thing that keeps us from that is a federal government that passes policy that tells you the rules of the game. You can make as much profit as you want as long as you stick to these certain rules that benefit everybody. That hurt nobody.
Guess what? It grows the economy. Benefits everybody. Hurts nobody.
The bailouts, well, she basically said that if they had let these big banks, in the case of the 2008 bailouts, if they had let them fail, it would have devastated working class people, which is probably true, which to me speaks to a bigger problem of like why is so much of the well-being of American citizens reliant on like transnational interest groups that routinely fuck up and then hold us hostage essentially for us to fix them. Like it I don't know. And that's not exactly the direction Jon Stewart went, but he kind of did. And he kind of talked about like, well, why is it structured in a way that individuals, the way he put it, she said that it would have been catastrophic for most working families if these banks had been failed. And he pointed out, well, for individuals, it was catastrophic because there were people who lost their house. And for that individual, that's a catastrophe. So why is it okay for like these working class individuals to face catastrophe? Where's the catastrophe for these big institutions? And she's kind of getting to that answer. Her answer was, well, that's why we need to tax them more. Which I said, sure, I get that, but I'm sure what she means by tax more is like raise it from like, what is it, like 29% to like 32%, instead of the golden era of America where we tax them at like 90% at profits over a certain amount of money.
Are responsible and do pay their fair share. So corporate
slash the IRS budget, we have all, we make accountability very difficult.
We're trying to reverse that. We're proposing a substantial increase in resources for the IRS so they can go after tax evasion. I want to tell you about another thing that's important here. All over the world, countries have been competing with one another.
Oh, forget how to ban. Totally, you're on it, bro.
To attract these companies.
Let's go to bigfollows.com.
Every country faces this, of companies having power and saying to governments, cut our tax rates or we're going to go someplace else.
Is the problem here that corporations feel like they have this country over a barrel?
We have a system where political contributions are important and where wealthy corporations and individuals use the power of access to skew the playing field. But the Biden administration has a different view, and
I got one ban
want to
for
make
him.
sure that
that's what I got.
companies behave fairly, that they pay their fair share, and we make the investments in people and in communities that are necessary to reverse this.
When you bring this up, or when you try and change fiscal policy in that way, where's the fight from? What are the headwinds? Why is it difficult to push through?
Well, the headwinds come.
And I'd like some names. Let me get
No,
a pen.
literally.
You know,
Yeah, do it, dude. Why not?
People don't like to have their taxes increased, and you know, we need to raise more tax revenue in order to finance the investments that our economy needs to be productive and for families to do well.
I hate how cut off these are, but that was, see, this is why can't Jon Stewart just do a podcast, bro? Like, what are you doing signing up with Apple? You really need the bag that bad, bro? Like, I'm sure you're wealthy as fuck. Like, can't you, like, just do your own thing? Have a 2-hour podcast with Janet Yellen? Like, that's what I need to see. Yeah, for real, bro. Like, he at least pushed her on some of the stuff. You know, I gotta give him some credit there. But again, it's like, it's a 5-minute segment. There's only so much shit that they can go over.